Hello everyone and welcome to Flickering Myth. My name is EJ Marino and I have waited since 2017 to make this video. Oh boy, we are diving into Zack Snyder's Justice League. The day has finally come. I'm here to talk about the Snyder Cut. I am one of those Zack Snyder fans, not one of those on Twitter, but I happen to like the man's work. I'm one of those rare people who loved Batman v Superman. So going into Justice League, there was a lot of hype. This has been years in the making, months of hype, and now that we're here, I have to say I enjoyed the film. It was a lot. This is a 4-hour epic. It's though the first epic of the streaming era. I've never seen a streaming film, a streaming TV show with the scale, with the scope, with the attitude, the pompous, the bombastic nature of Zack Snyder's Justice League. There is nothing like this on streaming. There's really nothing like this in the DC universe. I could maybe compare this a little bit to like Avengers movie where it's big, bold. We have the team coming up to fight a big bad alien. Yeah, it's one of those type of films, but it's not a Joss Whedon, it's not a Joss Whedon Avengers movie. This is Snyder's take. Though he has listened, the criticisms that I think he had in Batman v Superman, he's corrected some of them here. There's still a lot of slow motion, it's overly long, and it's way too dramatic, but there's a lighter, attitude. There's some humor in this film. There's some fun to be had, and that's all we could ask for. So, like the movie itself, I'm going to be breaking down my review into chapters. Let's go into the positives. Zack Snyder's Justice League has a lot going for it, but I would say the first thing that stands out to me is the tonal shift. We knew that Zack Snyder's Justice League wasn't going to be exactly like Batman v Superman, but it wasn't going to be like the 2017 Justice League that was released. This is somewhere in the middle. It is a lighter film than BVS. It is not as dramatic. It isn't a dark political drama. It's more of just a superhero movie with Batman trying to get together his crew of the Justice League to, save the world, and maybe, he feels bad for getting Superman killed. So he's like, hey, I will redo my mistakes. And this Batman is a different vibe. This isn't the BVS Batman where he's brooding because he's Batman, but he's a different type of brooding. He's here to actually do good in this world. He understands his mistake from the last film, so he's course correcting by gathering a team that he thinks is as strong as Superman. They're not, and that's when they end up having to try to bring back Superman. That is a lot in this film, but I will say tonally, it is much different than the other Zack Snyder movies. There is humor in this film. I think Ezra Miller's Flash is hilarious. He's not a clumsy moron like he was in the 2017 film, but he's still a lighter, more fun character. He actually knows how to fight this time as well, which is refreshing. Yeah, this movie is just jam-packed with a lot of entertainment. I can actually see people enjoying this viewing. Snyder, I like his work, but I understand it isn't for everyone. It is a little bit too serious at times. It's a little bit too campy and over the top at times. This movie has those. It's serious, it's a little bit crazy over the top, but it still works and it still feels like a cohesive vision. This seems like he listened to the critiques he had. Oh, you said Superman was a little too depressing? Fine, we'll change him up a little bit. Though he's a little angry when he wakes up, he's still a different Superman than when we've seen in BVS and Man of Steel. Same goes with Batman. The Affleck Batman is so much different this time around, and I do enjoy him. The whole team is just bringing a great energy. The film is bringing a great energy, and it just sucks you in. What also sucks you in is the powerful visuals. We'll talk about the visuals in another section, maybe some of the negatives, but overall, the look and feel of this movie is amazing. This looks crazy. Like, it is just, some of the scenes I was just blown away by, especially when we get to that last hour, and it feels like it's just crazy banana cuckoo pants from start to finish. That whole last hour is crazy. I just enjoyed it, and I just thought it was such a breathtaking film. There's so many shots that I'm just blown away. A lot of the Flash stuff, the speed stuff in here is great, but it's not just him. Cyborg, he has these weird visions and dreams, and it really looks cool. We also have the fights and the whole visual aesthetics of things. I loved the design of Steppenwolf. I loved how Darkseid looked. I love all the costumes here. I just love the look of this movie. Can things be a little bit more polished, sure, we'll talk about that in a moment, but overall, I was just blown away by how it looked. What also impressed me was the pacing of this movie. Yes, it is 4 hours long, it is a long film, but it doesn't feel like 4 hours. I was going through like the first 2 hours and I was just like, oh cool, we probably watched like an hour and 20. Oh my god, we're at the 2 hour mark? Yeah, it's that kind of film. It will just breeze by in some ways. I think when it gets to the end, the ending is a little, it's a little Lord of the Ringsy, where it's just like, oh, there's an ending. Well, there's another ending. Okay, we're not done ending the endings yet. Here's another ending. That's my only time I noticed the pacing of this movie, but shout out to the editors. They saved this film. They say 4 hours of a Zack Snyder movie, cool, we'll make it feel like a breeze. We'll make it just flow through, and I massively appreciate that. I think this is such a well-crafted film, from the cinematography to the editing to Snyder's direction. It's just start to finish just a lot of a lot. I am warning you, you are going to need to sit down for a day to watch this. And I'm not just saying because the movie's 4 hours. It's going to consume you. You're going to go, I have so many theories, I have so many feelings, what is going on? And I like that. We need more of that. Now looking at the negatives, there's some negatives here. I'm a Snyder fan, but I'm not one of those people who are dumb. The VFX in this movie can be rough. Sometimes the visual effects, the CG is just stunning, and then sometimes it is bad. And I'm just, I can't fault the movie because it had a wonky post-production. What you could tell, a lot of the stuff that they got to work on early on looks great. The stuff that you can see was maybe a little later of addition or VFX that they had to finish later on, I can definitely see them not being as polished. But it's hard because it's distracting at times. Sometimes I'm like, that doesn't look good. And then sometimes I'm like, this is not great, but the next scene, literally a scene later, it looks good. So I'm a little conflicted with the VFX. We'll also talk about the length of this movie. It is 4 hours long. I like Snyder, but he cannot make an hour-and-a-half film. If you put a gun to that man's head and said, hey, make this movie an hour and 20 minutes, he's gonna go, no, please, I can't. And I understand that. This is not for a casual film viewer. That's what's going to be the hardest thing. I'm so glad this isn't released in theaters, so we're like, wow, this movie made no money because it's so long. It's just like, yeah, it's long. It's fine. We're all adults. We know the pause button works. This movie is divided up into chapters. I would say if you feel this movie is too long, watch it in chapters of 2. There's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5 and 6. 5 and 6 have to go together. They are the ending of the film, and maybe something at the end as well. But yes, divided up into chapters. If you feel this is 4 hours too long, you want to like pace yourself, do 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and you could get the best experience. I will also say another thing that is a little overwhelming, like the whole pacing or the length of this film, it's also a pretty nerdy DC movie. Like, if you do not know your stuff about Flash or Aquaman or the New Gods, Darkseid, we'll talk about it. But yes, if you do not know that kind of stuff, it's going to get a little confusing. Snyder isn't holding your hand through this movie of going, hey, everyone got a movie and a movie, you know, a trilogy before we got to this movie, the team up. No, we're all adults. We can process these characters. We can understand with context clues, with lines of dialogue, with foreshadowing. There's stuff in here that you can understand these characters, though I do think it's a lot in here. A lot of these characters are kind of getting introduced here, but you know, the Flash. I don't need a whole solo movie before this because I know who the Flash is, but not everyone does, and that's going to be an issue here. And it's I can't be like, oh God, screw you, you don't know anything, because these movies are for everyone. He's making movies for the mass public. I just wish this was a tiny bit more accessible to the average film fan. To wrap this up, let's talk about my favorite parts of this movie. I'm not going to spoil anything, but what I do love is the new gods. We have DeSaad, we have Steppenwolf, we have Darkseid, we have Granny Goodness in a small role. She doesn't do anything, but she is there, and oh my goodness, the Darkseid stan in me went nuts for this. He is not a massive part of this movie. Steppenwolf is still the main villain, but Darkseid is a presence looming over everything. I love it. I think this was handled, if this would have got more films, I kind of like this this more than how Thanos was introduced in post-credit scenes, so by the time he shows up in like an actual movie, you're like, who is this guy? I like that Darkseid is here as the big bad we know is coming. So smart. The new God stuff in this movie is just brilliant. I also really like Ezra Miller's Flash. He is just a light, an energy, a spirit to this film that is needed. He is just so damn good. I love him so much. But he's also joined by Cyborg, who is the main character of this movie almost. It's an ensemble film, and I think Batman is like the legit main character, but Cyborg is so important to this film. He is like secondary character. Him and his father have so much to do. They're so tied to everything. They're just so important. I can understand some of the drama of feeling like, hey, I should have been in this movie. Why was I cut? Because it's just like the whole movie is gutted if you take out Cyborg. He is so good, and Ray Fisher performs it amazingly. I wish I could see Ray Fisher and Ezra Miller together in a film. It could be amazing. Sadly, it doesn't seem like what's gonna happen, but still, I really like Flash, and I like Cyborg. I like them all, though. All of the Justice League does well. Aquaman's fine. We have Wonder Woman, who's amazing. Batman, Superman, they're all really good, but these are the ones who really stand out. Overall, as well, the action is a big yes for me. It's, again, sometimes the CG isn't perfect, but when it is, these action scenes are breathtaking. The first time Steppenwolf fights the Themyscirians, we have the intro that kind of is really cool as well. Wonder Woman doing like a terrorist situation, you know, helping out a terrorist situation. It's just crazy. The action is mind-blowing, but you know that from Snyder. But like I said, that's why I wanted to focus on the good acting and the good character work from Cyborg and Flash, because that's not usually what we equate with Snyder's work. That is it. I have finally got to talk about Snyder Cut. I saw Zack Snyder's Justice League and had a blasty blast with this film. I loved it. It was everything I wanted. But I want to know, are you guys excited? How do you feel? Did I let you guys know? Did I like level out the hype? If you were too hyped, did I lower it? Did I like, if you weren't hyped enough, did I raise it? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Subscribe to Flickering Myth, because we make videos like this every single week, and give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy this. I had a blast talking about the Snyder Cut, and I cannot wait to talk about this more with you below.